The night had grown darker than usual across the land of the Seven Kingdoms. Cold winds moved through the forests and across the ancient castles, carrying a strange feeling that something terrible was about to happen. A few days earlier, strange lights had appeared in the frozen mountains of the north. At first, people ignored it and thought it was just a natural event. But everything changed after the scouts who were sent to investigate never returned. Their broken shields and blood-stained swords were later found near the border. And that was the moment when fear slowly began spreading across the kingdoms. Now, inside the royal palace in the capital, an emergency council had been called. Generals, advisors, and messengers from different kingdoms stood inside the hall arguing loudly, some believing the danger was real, while others thought the north was simply afraid of shadows. Suddenly, the heavy doors of the council hall burst open and a wounded soldier stumbled inside. His armor was cracked, his face pale, and his breathing fast. The entire room fell silent as he tried to speak. With trembling lips, he whispered that they had seen them, the creatures from the old stories, the ones everyone believed were only legends. Before he could explain further, he collapsed on the floor. Fear spread across the faces of everyone in the room. At that moment, Prince Aaron remembered the ancient prophecy he had discovered days earlier in the royal library. A prophecy that spoke about a night when darkness would rise again while the Seven Kingdoms remained divided by hatred and old wars. The words of the prophecy suddenly felt real, and the prince realized that if the kingdoms continued fighting each other, none of them would survive what was coming. But the greatest problem was that the Seven Kingdoms had not trusted each other for decades. Old battles, betrayals, and broken alliances had created deep hatred between their rulers. Convincing them to stand together seemed almost impossible. Still, Prince Aaron knew waiting would only make things worse. That same night, he made a decision that shocked the few people who knew about it. Instead of sending messengers, he would travel across the kingdoms himself to warn every ruler and convince them to unite before it was too late. Before sunrise, while the palace slept in silence, the prince quietly left through the main gates with only a handful of loyal warriors riding beside him. There were no royal banners, no army, and no announcement of his journey, only a desperate hope that he could change the fate of the kingdoms. What the prince did not know was that hidden eyes were already watching his every move from the darkness of the forest, enemies who wanted the kingdoms to remain divided because chaos would give them power. Far beyond the frozen mountains of the north, the ground suddenly began to shake beneath thick layers of ice. Cracks spread across the frozen land, and from the darkness beneath, an ancient army slowly rose again after centuries of silence. Their armor was covered in frost, their eyes cold and lifeless, and their leader stepped forward holding a dark sword that seemed to absorb the light around it. The long war that the world had forgotten was about to begin again, and while Prince Aaron rode toward the First Kingdom, hoping to unite the realm, he had no idea that the true enemy was already awakening and marching toward the Seven Kingdoms, ready to turn this long night into the beginning of a battle that would decide the fate of everyone.